of that team going right there. Thanks, Billy. The first presentation is past District Governor Ken Fleeson. Ken is the PDG from 7280. That's the northwest corner of Pennsylvania. If you're not familiar, his home club is Richmar. Ken's going to talk to us about using public image and public relations effectively. If you have a question, chat it. There are 4 others of us watching that, and we will probably get to those at the end of Ken's specific presentation. I appreciate you muting. And with that, Ken, sir, it's all yours, and thank you very much.
Sorry, trying to get my PowerPoint to come up here. Sorry about that. Having a little trouble here.
Not a problem. Growing pains. And while Ken struggles with that, let me just reiterate that public image is a live breathing event. And this is good training and education for all of us. Ken, you look good here. Is that good for you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I will get out of your way.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm new to the public image team this year. Great group of people. I'm learning a lot, but I'm here to tell you that I am by no means an expert when it comes to public image or public relations. But what I'm hoping that we can do today is that I can give you some ideas, some things to think about. And then when I finish with my presentation, and then there'll be a short video at the end, what I'd like to do is hear from you. We want to hear about some of your successes and some of your suggestions on how we can all improve public image and public relations and help our clubs and our districts. So with that, I'm going to get started with the first question is, as public image and district and club leaders, are we doing enough to provide resources to our members to help them promote and grow Rotary? So public image is how people perceive our organization by our branding or our logo and how we conduct ourselves. Public relations helps to build and maintain a positive public image. And this is done through our dialogue, and it must be repeated of what our organization stands for, and our relations need to not only focus on our outside audience, the public, but must also focus on our internal audience, our members. Public image and public relations needs to mirror how people perceive us, not how we perceive ourselves. So I'm sure we've all seen clubs that portray this public image. When I joined Rotary 25 plus years ago, there was a table in the back of the room, and I'm sure you all know the table that I'm talking about, that had some of our seasoned members, and they seemed to be very unapproachable. They did not give a true perspective of what our public image was. And I'm sure that if we take a look at any clubs in our districts that have the same perception, these are clubs that probably are not growing and possibly are probably going the other direction. So is this the perception that people still have of our members in our clubs? Or is this the perception that they have? This needs to be our goal, to show that we are people of action. We are a diverse group of individuals that want to make our communities and better places, and we want to be change makers and peoples of action. Rotary's vision statement encourages us to take action to create change. When we talk about our public relations and our public image, we need to focus on how we can create change in our clubs and make them more attractive to potential members, as well as motivate our current members to become leaders and people of action. The change is not easy, like trying to turn this ship. It requires planning and time, and we, as leaders of our districts and clubs, need to be the cheerleaders to create this change. In order to create change, we need to use Rotary strategic priorities and objectives. By increasing our impact, we show our members and those in the community that we are effective problem solvers. As we work to increase our impact, we need to measure our successes to make sure that we are filling the needs of those we serve, as well as those who serve. In order to expand our reach, we need to activate and inspire not only our current members, but others to join us in our efforts. We need to grow and diversify our membership, create new channels for people to join Rotary, increase our openness and appeal, and build an awareness of our impact and our brand. In order to enhance participant engagement, we need to identify the passions and what motivates our members to be engaged, and to show the community that we're an organization that allows others to join us to fill their need to serve. In order for us to be successful, we need to adapt and make changes in how we are perceived. We need to build a culture where we foster a more diverse perspective of our clubs. We need to show that we are not an elite group, but rather we welcome anyone to join us, and we want to listen, we want to hear their ideas on how we can increase our impact and expand our reach. So let's take a look at what public image is. Our public image is in part our branding, which needs to be uniform. Billy Black will be talking to you more about the proper use of branding and logos in the next session. But in order for us to build a consistent public image, we need to be using the current logos and be speaking with one voice about who we are and what we do. Club and district websites and social media pages need to be using the proper branding. As we all know, there are no Rotary police, but we as members need to be the police. We need to be taking a look at our websites, make sure that they're compliant with the new proper brandings. In addition, websites and social media pages give us a great outlet where we can be telling our story and telling people about what our mission is, whether it's in our club or whether it's in our district. What are we doing to make an impact, and how can we invite others to join us? We've all heard that a picture tells 1,000 words, and our websites and social media pages gives us the platform to display our pictures. 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual, and visuals are transmitted 60,000 times faster than text to the human brain. Additionally, the human attention span has been reduced, meaning you have little time to catch your audience's attention. Visuals allow you to get your message across in ways that impact viewers quickly and help them to recall that information later. For example, if you heard something today, in 3 days, you'd only remember 10% of what you heard. But if the same information was supported by a relevant image, you'd retain 65% of that image 3 days later. The best form of visuals is photos, but not just any photos. The photos you post need to be exciting and showing action. The photos and information posted should be updated regularly and keep the information fresh. We need to make our photos fun. People will associate more with us by seeing us in action and having fun in what we are doing instead of a group of people sitting in a room listening to a presentation. When we choose visuals to get our message out, we need to make them interesting and exciting to the public. Simply displaying a photo of someone receiving a check does not show that we are people of action. But showing photos of being in a community to support a cause or a project or a program does. How many of us have no problem wearing a shirt or jersey of our favorite sports teams? We need to be wearing Rotary apparel to promote our public image when we are doing a service project, fundraiser, or supporting a community event. In addition, we need to be wearing our pins. We need to be showing people every single day that we are Rotarians and that we are proud to be a Rotarian, and invite them to join us. Now let's take a look at public relations. Effective public relations consists of a common message, effectively using the brand, and sharing what we do and being engaged. By focusing our communications of what Rotary stands for and how we differ from other organizations and why Rotary matters, we can all develop our own story, which will be consistent. The use of proper branding helps to support our consistent message so that when others see the brand, they can immediately associate with who we are and what we do. Rotarians are great at telling stories. The problem is we tell them to ourselves. We need to be sharing our personal and club experiences with others to show how Rotary helps us fulfill our passion and that we encourage others to do the same. And most importantly, we need to engage and energize our members to reinforce that we are people of action. In order for public relations to be effective, it needs to be appealing, have credibility, and be consistent. Our public relations needs to reach this audience as well as this audience. We need to identify the audience we are trying to attract. We need to listen to what they want and tell them how Rotary can help them fulfill their passion. The message must appeal to the diversity that exists in our communities to show that we are an organization that welcomes the perspectives of everyone so that we can become a stronger organization. It's one thing to say what we do and what we stand for, but it's another to do what we say. If we do not show our audience that we are people of action through what we do to help others and welcome all schools of thought and ideas, our words mean nothing and thus lose credibility, which is hard to gain back. As our club and district leaders change each year, we must make a conscious effort to develop public relations campaigns that remain consistent and are repeated year after year. If not, we will only create confusion to our audience. And then there's the big but. Are our members ready for this? In order for effective public relations to work, we need to get the buy-in of all of our members. For years, we have been hearing about the 3 pillars of Rotary: membership, foundation, and public image. And they should not be working as independent silos, but we should be doing it, we should be working together. But have we been doing this? As public image chairs and leaders, we need to take the lead to encourage cooperation with district and club leaders, as well as with foundation and membership chairs to develop public image and public relations campaigns that will create change in our club, energize our members, and help to attract new members. So we're back to these guys. As I mentioned before, there was a table in the back of the room. And at first, the perception I had of Rotary was pretty much what you see on your screen here. But then what I came to learn as I got to know those individuals, that they were warm, caring individuals that wanted us as other members to feel welcome, to become leaders, and to serve. They became some of my best mentors and my biggest encouragement as I made my trek towards being a district governor. But the perception that they gave at the beginning probably would have turned a lot of people off and thus would have never joined our club. An effective public image and public relations program will help change the perception of Rotary and will help clubs attract new members. With new members come new ideas, and energy to enhance the projects and programs. These efforts can then show that we are truly people of action. We need to remember, though, a public image team is more than one person. It's a team effort, and it must involve all of our members. I recently came across the video, which I think will help support some of what I talked about. In addition, it may give you some ideas on how you can create a more effective public image and public relations campaign.
To talk a little bit about Rotary's public image. It's something that we've spent a lot of time on over the past decade, understanding that we need to tell our Rotary stories in a more compelling way to a bigger audience. And one of the biggest ways we can do that is through social media. And you're a whiz at this, Michael. So tell us a little bit about how you get the best bang for your buck through social media.
Sure. I think a lot of people now have figured out, Jennifer, how to post on Facebook, how to post on Twitter, et cetera. But I think the next step for any club or organization district that wants to take their game to another level is to try to organize professional campaigns, just like professional marketing companies and advertising companies do, where instead of just doing isolated posts and crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, you'd actually be targeting certain demographics like young people or women or people with special interests. You know, you could use LinkedIn these days to get a bunch of photographers interested in your club because you can search photographers on LinkedIn. It's the only social media platform where you can search people like that. And so this idea of coveting and desiring and planning, strategizing to have a certain number of impressions, I think would improve most people's social media campaigns. So
you mentioned something interesting. You mentioned photography. And we have a new campaign out, People of Action, and we've taken a really good look at how we frame ourselves in the marketplace. And one of the sort of the biggest parts, the biggest aspects of why this campaign has come into being is because of photography. You know, how many times are you in your club and at the end of the meeting you stand in front of your banner with the person who's just spoken or with the check in between you, and that's the photograph that we put up on social media. And not to say that there's not room for that, but it doesn't show us in action. No. And so really taking a look at how you can be out in activity. So, you know, instead of the check all being like that, maybe there's a fun way to present that. There's something different, something that is unique. It's those unique things that really catch someone's attention and make them understand that we're people of action. So we need to be cognizant that as we're doing our projects, that we get out there and look for the action points.
One easy idea is called POV, or point of view, where if Jennifer and I were doing a presentation to a group and the check was between us and a blank wall was behind us, is to spin around or have the photographer over here and shooting against the audience. So now the audience is in the background of the shot. And by the way, we would tell the audience, smile as if you're having a good time, right? Because that photo is going to be seen by many, many more people that are in the room. So it's these types of strategies, I think, that make the most of our marketing opportunities. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson who said, always act as if you're on television. No, it wasn't Thomas Jefferson, now that I think about it. But this idea of acting as if more people are going to see you all the time is a pretty good thing. And that's what we're encouraging people to do with public image campaigns.
Well, and again, you know, going back to social media and the way that we frame things, talk a little bit about, you know, getting close up in a photograph, because that makes a big difference too, doesn't it?
Oh, you bet. I mean, Rotary's greatest asset are its people, right? Rotarians. And so group shots are fine and crowd shots are great, but there's nothing like the shiny, happy person, right? The smile. And a lot of times we see people in their normal station in life, which is called the resting face, right? But I like the 10-tooth smile, you know, 6 on the top and 4 on the bottom, man. And that's when you know somebody's really enjoying themselves. And that is the image we want to convey to the rest of the world, because Rotary is, after all, about enjoying yourself. If this was hard work and drudgery and nobody ever liked it, it wouldn't be much of an organization.
Well, and at the end of the day, I will sort of challenge you on that point. It is hard work. Rotary is hard work, and a lot of us spend a lot of time doing it, but that's because we get the paycheck.
It's fun hard work, isn't
It's
it?
fun hard work, and it's a great deviation from what we do in our own vocational life. And I think that then again, that ties us now back into membership, because you can do something in your Rotary life. You may be working as a banker, but you can come in and do public image as part of your club experience, or work on the foundation or something like that, and grow your own personal skill development. So it all kind of weaves back around again, that wheel of synergy between membership, the foundation, and public image. I encourage you to go on to Rotary.org, to the Brand Center, and you will find all of the tools available for the People of Action campaign that we've been talking about a little bit here today. And you can download all kinds of things that you can, all sorts of templates that you can use right now and customize with your own club images in them that make it look like it's a completely professional, top-notch campaign. And they're great tools, they're free to use, and I just think that they make us look dynamic.
They sure do.
Yeah, so hopefully you have the opportunity to do that, and there's lots of folks around who can assist. And if you need help with any of this, what do you do?
Well, you could go to Rotary.org.
Or you could ask your grandson or your granddaughter, or someone in the club who is the whiz-bang person on social media. So anyway, have fun with it, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Take care, everybody.
Okay, so with that, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to open it up to you. Oops. Sorry.
I'm delighted to have you with us here today. If this is your first time meeting Antler, Antler is a global early-stage venture capital.
Is he giving out Bitcoins?
I'm trying. Sorry about this.
Not at all, Ken. We're here with you. Not a problem. So who in the call has an example of their club or their district position as the PI chair at some level, showing us an example of something that they think is effective that maybe no one else has tried, or give us I'm always good at providing you with my failures. I can tell you what I tried and didn't work, but who's got one of those, a good or another? Somebody throw in. Please unmute yourself and join into the chat, or join into the conversation, would you? No one has an example of their effective public image campaign in their role.
That's probably why we're all on this call, wanting to learn more.
Okay. Give me a failure then.
I'll give you a failure.
There's Frank.
This Frank Cox. I'm in 7750 in South Carolina. Ostensibly, we have not had a PIPR person at the district level for almost 5 years. And we are literally dismal in getting the latest information and keeping our members motivated, except at the club level. And we've taken an initiative. I've had a couple of meetings. We're putting together some professionals around the district, and we're going to kick off. We're going to do I like to use the simple terms: crawl, walk, run. We're going to put together a simple plan. We hope to mimic our sister district in South Carolina. Mary Gasky, and her husband Ken are quite competent. So we've asked them to give us a training session. We've got a group of people that got the responsibilities in their clubs, or they do it for a living. And so I think the map for us to follow without having a program is we've got to put something together that really starts at the club level, while simultaneously we start to do some district level branding. And so I'm eager to hear successes from the infancy all the way up to the full-blown we know that we've got a real challenge ahead of us. So that's why, Karen, that's why I'm on here to all day to pick up and to learn more how I could guide the team to move forward. But I really appreciate what Alex done over the past few months as he in his role to provide us opportunities to learn and keep up. And his counterpart down in 34 he's not shabby either. So Marshall's helped out quite a bit. So I do appreciate the leadership from the zone and what they're trying to do.
Well, you're very kind. And I will tell you that it takes a team at every level. And Ken, if I might just take over the mic for just a second. One of the slides Ken showed was the 3 silos. And I'm a huge believer in that. Public image, I'll start over. Membership is very analytical. It's numbers. Foundation obviously is, as Frank said a minute ago, maybe counting Bitcoins in a little while, but it is very analytical as well. There's no doubt you're either winning or losing in those 2 battles. Public image is the liberal arts education, if you will. It is not a hard science. However, I am firmly convinced that public image supports and directly impacts the membership of your club, the ebbs and flows of those numbers. And I guarantee you it directly affects the foundation donations. So one of the things I would suggest from the very beginning, as Frank in 7550 starts up again and recreates public image, is that we figure out how to make sure that those 3 individuals at the club level or at the district level or at the AG level, at every level, understand that they work together and that the public image isn't the redheaded stepchild that we used to be. And oh, by the way, I did have red hair at one time, so I'm getting away with saying that. But they can't do it without us. And you know what? We can't do it without them because we're advertising what the club does. You know, so we're discussing their service projects. We're not discussing public image. We're not going out just talking about, you know, is this the proper branding? We're talking about what the club does in the community. We're also talking about what the club does through the foundation in the community, and the good that we do in the world. So I think it's important to share all of that and to make sure that everybody understands at the leadership level of the club and the leadership level at every level that we work together. And if they're not allowing us to work together, I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Frank. Frank, how come you weren't able to find a PI person for 5 years? Was it that difficult to recruit someone?
Well, we had a person in the chair for 3 years that literally would not answer the emails.
Okay, well that's a bad start.
I was putting our district conference together in 2019 and had 2 face-to-face meetings to make sure our branding at the conference met the Rotary standards and so forth.
Right.
I had a designer design some logos, which ultimately Terry Weaver, who's one of our district leaders, said, Frank, you can't do that. So, but I had 2 face-to-face meetings with him and he didn't show up. So that's kind of the tone. Yeah. And then this past year, Beth Patchett had someone who was a professional signed up and she ended up having a very serious health problem.
Oh, yeah, well, that's unavoidable. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
This is Rick Tote from District 7280, District Governor-elect. One thing I wanted to add was, I think what's underused for public image is the pre-recorded radio spots that's available through RI. We have one club in our district that puts them on the radio. They're on the radio regularly, and it's always a delight and comfort to turn the radio on and hear, you know, some of the good that Rotary's doing. And I know in our district, I hope to promote that more this coming year.
Hi, I'm Sue Ann Bryant from 7600, and I have the benefit of coming in behind a young lady who's been the PI chair for 3 years, who's done a phenomenal job, particularly on the social media level.
Sorry, Sue-Ann.
Sue-Ann, you just muted somehow.
Yeah, somehow the host muted me back, but there we go. You can. I was going to say I'm inheriting a position that someone had for 3 years. That's done such a great job, particularly on the social media front with Facebook and Instagram, and creating those professional looking posts and the dynamic graphics and images. So I obviously have some pressure to continue that success. But I think it's certainly easier than trying, to start from the ground up. But she essentially did that, I believe, 3 years ago. Our district didn't have a strong history of, as much of a visible public image chair. And so I think that moving forward, I just want to continue that success and then help our clubs who often still struggle with it, and particularly on the social media front.
One of the things I think that we neglect to do is hook up to the zone public image and to Rotary International's public image and just repost some of their great posts. You don't have to get out there and create your own. Repost. There was a great one on polio on zone 33, 34 this week, and it showed that there was one case of polio, a graphic with one case of polio in Afghanistan and one in Pakistan. What a great thing to repost at your club's website. So don't think you've got to create them all yourselves. Let's use each other's things that are out there.
This is Angela with 7710, and you'll see the Amplify Rotary box. We sent that to each president-elect before pets. Of course, there were different things in there for the pets training, but we want to have our presidents for this coming year amplify Rotary through their messaging, updating their messaging on their websites and updating it on their social media. And we are saying share what you can from RI, from the zone, and also from the district, because we do have an active social media presence on the district level. And that's exactly right, Billy. They don't have to do all this themselves, but we do want them to update their website because we're finding they haven't done that in a while. They can use the people of action messaging and those types of things. So we're using the, serve the theme, the RI theme, but we're just reminding our presidents that you need to constantly amplify Rotary and get it out there into your community.
Yeah, and that information needs to remain fresh. It needs to be updated. One of the worst things that you can do is go to a website that's 3 years out of date, because that'll immediately turn people off. And that's just a simple way that you can build your public image and your public relations.
Which leads to the 3 o'clock. If y'all are watching the chats go by, it's a small enough group. I think we're all able to read them, possibly. But Ashley's comment that the 3 o'clock event actually is going to address how to build the PI team. And there are several takeaways that we hope you'll walk out with, but we also know that you may or may not be able to sit here for the 5 hours. So let me throw 1 or 2 of them at you. Public image should be a team. And you saw a slide go by already from Ken. A committee of 1 is extremely difficult to do, because if you're trying to keep up with all of the social media and you're trying to put out, as Karen mentioned in the chats, a monthly or a quarterly newsletter by yourself, and you're trying to chase down those good things that the foundation is doing and the good things that the service projects are doing, and new members and a president's message. And if you are the one-armed paper hanger, you're not going to make it. And that's experience talking, and every one of us on the zone committee has served in that one horse race, and it is very difficult to do it. And y'all have been in a one horse race yourself at some point on something. You know how difficult it is. So ask your leadership again for more help. And here's a takeaway: you don't have to be a professional public relations, media marketer, website manager. You have to have passion in Rotary.
Amen.
Period. That's all you need. And the zone is here to help you. We are here to help you. My suggestion again is if you're a club, ask your district for help. And if your district can't do it, it's okay. Turn around and ask us for help as well. We're here to serve this committee. This zone committee is here to serve 17 districts and about 950 clubs. But we are willing to do it. You give us enough lead time, we'll be your program.
Jack Cohen, did you need to say something? I saw you keep trying to pop in.
You're muted, sir.
I was having a little bit of computer issues, but I'm back. I would tell you the biggest thing I would tell everyone is that if you're gonna have a channel opened up on social media, you have to have consistent input. If you do something and then you don't touch it for 3 months, no one's going to stick around. You need to get more. The more you do, the more people will pay attention to it.
I'm going to put a plug in for DACDB. You can create stories on DACDB that will go straight into your newsletter, which will go straight on your website, and you can make them automatically expire after a certain amount of time. So each week when you create your bulletin story, it'll go to your website and then fall off. So you're constantly having fresh things go into your website without doing anything more than creating your bulletin story. So consider stories, easy bulletin, and website on the DACDB platform. And I think Karen, Tome, had something to say about digital bulletins.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I just put in the chat that we do a newsletter, a digital newsletter now. It's been really positive. It's really, it helps educate our members, but then other people can see it too. So, yeah.
Is that a club or a district?
Club. But you're right. We need to send it. I think we send it to the district governor there too. So yeah, but you're right. We need to get to the district.
I'd send it to the DG, the DGE, the DGN, the DG little d, as soon as that's designated, and every AG in the district.
Okay, good point.
Flood them. Make them come back to you and ask you to turn it off.
Yes.
Because all it's going to do is create a little, wow, look at what they're doing.
Okay. Good
And that's
idea.
really what we want, isn't it? We're just like the kids in 3rd grade. We just want to be recognized.
There was a question in the chat whether we would, in one of our quarterly messages, do how to use DACDB with stories, bulletins, and websites. Throw me in that briar patch.
And we had actually discussed that. So Billy's just grinning from ear to ear that we weren't going to delve into it today, but it would be one of the first topics we do on our quarterly events. So look for it. And we will do that on the very first one. And you'll get an email announcing that as well.
And for all the DGEs on the call, you can ask your club public image chairs to share the story with you at the district level, and you can create your district level newsletter just by populating those stories. Put your story at the top and then all the other stories inside it, and didn't take you any effort at all.
And I would just like to echo some of what Alex was talking about for incoming club officers as well as incoming district officers. I would really encourage you to get with your foundation and your membership chairs sooner rather than later, and start talking to them about what they need as far as from public image and how you can put together an effective campaign to help them. But the other point is, and it's been brought up a couple of times, is it needs to have consistency. What you put together today needs to be the same consistent message next year and the year after. Because if you continue to change your messages, all you're going to do is create confusion. So, any other questions?
While we're on that consistent message, I don't know if one of us has it in our presentation, but the theme for each year is just that. It's an internal theme. If you put it out there to the world, instead of our Rotary theme, our brand, Rotary brand, that's very confusing for the public. So if you will keep, like the open doors and all the different ones, we will be a gift to the world. That's internal. Put that in your bulletins, put that in your internal newsletters, but keep the Rotary logo when you're using Facebook and your website. So this not to confuse the public, because they don't know what the heck we're doing every year.
Does that make sense to everybody? We're trying to provide a consistent brand. And our consistent brand is that Rotary master brand that I can see over Sue Ann's head and that you can see over Billy's head and my head. And there's nothing wrong. Don't misunderstand me. There's nothing wrong with Rick Tote's the 3 doors that we're seeing on that display, because this is an internal conversation. And if it gets pushed out to the World Wide Web, then so be it. But if we present ourselves as the 3 doors, and then next year it's Billy and I always refer to the gift to the world or the all-stars, all we're doing is confusing our customer. That's McDonald's changing their logo every year. That's really not what we want to try to do. That makes sense to everybody. And it'll happen every year, and it's okay. And again, you don't have to turn into the police. It's an internal document. It's an internal newsletter. It's an internal photo, or it's a photo at the club. Well, it's hanging on the lectern. It's not a big deal. But if you're producing something that's going out, if you're advertising an event for a service project, our recommendation is that you not use the annual theme. That's where it would come into play more than printed media that's going to happen in your clubs and districts. Billy, do you agree with that? Ken?
Yep.
Is that the way to present that?
Yep.
Absolutely. And we've got 3 more minutes, Ken. So if you want to wrap it up, or if somebody wants a finishing question.
Okay, well, with no more questions, again, thank you very much for attending. I hope we gave you some information that you can start thinking about. But to reiterate what Alex said is, for those of you in the clubs, reach out to your district public image chairs, public image teams, have them help you. As Billy said, they have a lot of information that they can share with you. But if you're not getting the answers you need or the help that you need, don't hesitate to contact one of us on the public image team. We're happy to help you. We're happy to come out and do presentations. Hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later, now that COVID is starting to abate a bit. But yeah, we're here to help you. So don't hesitate to ask. So with that, I'll say good afternoon and hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions coming up. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Ken, very much. I appreciate that. And here's the admin notice again. Our next class is going to start on the hour, and it's Billy talking about Rotary's brand, how to use Rotary's brand. And we're not talking about just the master brand. So join us if you can, top of the hour. We're not going to end this session. We're simply going to stop the recording now. Billy, can you reach up and do that for me now while I'm talking? And we're going to